You ever have that feeling like you're working harder and harder every single year, but you're just not really getting ahead? We're always told the same thing, right? Climb the ladder, take the promotion, get that fancy new title. But what if the math behind that advice is just completely wrong? Today, we're going to dive into the real numbers, because what they show might just change how you think about your entire career.
Seriously, right now, just picture that person in your head. You know the one. They say yes to every single project. They're always the last one to leave. They jump at every promotion. They've got the title, they've got the salary, but are they happy? I don't mean LinkedIn happy. I mean genuinely, truly happy. It's a tough question, right? And the answer, a lot of the time, looks something like this. Yeah, this is the part nobody puts on their resume. That hidden side of the big title. It's the constant pressure, the bone-deep exhaustion, that feeling like you're on a hamster wheel that just keeps getting faster. The promotion came, sure, the raise came, but somewhere along the line, something important quietly slipped out the back door. Today, we're gonna figure out exactly what that something is.
Okay, let's get into it. And we're gonna start with the one thing everyone focuses on, the money. But we're gonna break down the numbers in a way that, let's be honest, your HR department really hopes you never do. Because as you're about to see, the big salary number is actually the least interesting part of this whole story.
So it all starts here. Boom, you get the big promotion and a $30,000 raise. It feels amazing, right? It's validating, it's a number you tell your family about. But what does that 30 grand actually translate to in your bank account? Well, reality hits pretty fast. Once the government takes its slice, and we're talking a big slice, sometimes over 40% between federal and state taxes, that shiny $30,000 raise is suddenly slashed to about $17,500 in actual take-home pay. And believe it or not, that's not even the most painful part. Okay, so now we have to factor in all the hidden costs. The new commute back to the office, buying lunch every day, the nicer work clothes. Not to mention that studies show high-stress workers can face healthcare bills up to 50% higher. So when all the dust settles, that massive $30,000 promotion might only net you $1,000 to $5,000 a year. That's it. That's what's actually left to save or invest. So where did all the rest of the money go? It gets devoured by this monster, lifestyle inflation. And this isn't about being bad with money. It's like this automatic, almost biological thing that happens to us. We get more income, and our brain just goes, great, permission to spend more. The slightly bigger apartment, the newer car, and poof, the gains are just gone.
And look, this isn't just a problem for a few people. Get this. A Goldman Sachs study found that 40% of households earning $500,000 a year still say they live paycheck to paycheck. That's insane. It proves that just having a high income isn't the solution. A raise without a plan just gives you a bigger bucket with the same hole in the bottom.
So if the money is a bit of an illusion, what's the real cost of that promotion? Well, this is where things get serious, because the true price you pay isn't in dollars. It's paid in the one thing you can never, ever get back: hours of your life. This brings us to probably the most important number you should know: your effective hourly rate. This is the most honest number in your financial life. Why? Because it completely ignores the fancy salary and just tells you what you're actually earning for every single hour you're giving away. Just look at this breakdown. The VP makes 40 grand more a year, but they're also working at least 15 extra hours every single week. When you do the math on their real hourly rate, the big promotion premium comes out to just over $2 an hour. $2. Is that really what 15 more hours a week away from your family, from your hobbies, from your life is worth? And here's the little trick in the system that makes this all possible. The moment you become a salaried, exempt employee, which is pretty much every manager, you lose your right to overtime pay. Those extra 15 hours a week, that adds up to 780 hours of unpaid labor every year. Let me put that another way. That is nearly 20 full work weeks that you are giving to your company for free. All right, enough with the abstract numbers. Let's make this really concrete and see how these choices actually play out in real life over time. Let's imagine two people. We'll call them Blake and Jordan. So here's the scoreboard. Blake, he climbed the ladder, took every promotion. He makes 47 grand more a year. But now look at Jordan. She decided management wasn't for her, kept her strict 40-hour week, and used that extra time and energy to build a little side business. And the result? Jordan has nearly 3 times more in investable assets than Blake does. See, Blake's high salary forced him into a high-cost life.
He's trapped in what they call the golden handcuffs. For him, it's not even about loving his job anymore. It's about the fact that he literally cannot afford to leave it. Jordan, on the other hand, her wealth isn't just in her brokerage account, even though that's pretty impressive. Her real wealth is in her time, her freedom, her control. She isn't just earning a living. She's building a life that actually belongs to her. So why on earth does this system even exist? It feels like a personal problem, but it's really not. The promotion system was never designed to make you wealthy. It was engineered very carefully over decades to make the company more productive, and just to make those two things feel like they're the same goal. There's this idea in economics called tournament theory, and it explains this whole thing perfectly. Basically, your workplace is an elimination tournament. The big, fancy titles are the prize at the top, and they're designed to make everyone work as hard as possible, even the 95% of people who will never, ever get that prize. Their unpaid evenings and weekends are what fuel the whole system. And you know what? The game is getting even more obvious. Just look at the rise of what people are calling dry promotions. That's a new title, but with no pay raise. Companies are doing this more and more because they've learned that offering status instead of cash works surprisingly well. And this right here, this is the psychological trap in action. A survey found that almost 2/3 of people would rather take a title with no money than more money with no title. We've been so deeply trained to connect titles with success that companies can literally pay us in status, and we thank them for it. So if the game is rigged, how do you win? Well, maybe the answer is you don't play. You create your own game. And it starts by redefining what success and well-being actually look like to you, and then embracing the quiet power of saying no to the things that don't get you there. A study from Vanguard found something truly fascinating. They looked at what actually makes people feel financially secure. And the number one factor wasn't a huge salary or $1 million in assets. It was having a $2,000 emergency fund. Just think about that. Security, that feeling that one bad week won't completely derail your life, that feeling beats a massive income every single time. And this really shows the massive disconnect we're all dealing with. When you actually ask people what they want from life, the answers are so clear. Time with family, health, travel, these are the real goals. And you know what's at the bottom of the list? Reaching the C-suite. Only 4% of people said that was a top priority.
In the end, it all comes down to this one question. The next time a promotion comes your way, you have to stop and ask yourself this. The company wants you to believe you're buying a prestigious title, but the real math, it suggests you might actually be selling the most valuable thing you'll ever own. What are you going to choose?